Dear viewers, uh, today I will uh, explain and try to discuss about a poem written by Eunice de Souza, and that poem name is Advice to Women. Advice to Women is a feminist poem. It deals with how women should behave after a breakup or after a divorce or after a some kind of heartbreak. Okay, okay. Now let's start it. The poem "Advice to Women" is composed by Indian English language poet, literary critic, and novelist Eunice de Souza. Eunice de Souza was born in 1940 and died recently in 2017. And it was published in her poetry collection called Selected and New Poems in the year 1994. And her poetry always deals with struggle or scuffle of women in a typical patriarchal society, and predicament of women means how women were treated in the patriarchal society, or how society considers women's role in its way of life or in its way of doing things. And through this poem, Advice to Women, the narrator of the poem tries to advise women about romantic rejection and how to cope up this kind of emotional disturbances after heartbreak. And the poet has used cat as a metaphor to compare men and women with it. Uh, because when cat is not treated fairly, then it will not try to be at that place. uh, it will distance itself, so it becomes supercilious and puffed up. Similarly, the poet appeals, or the speaker appeals to women that they should too behave in that way, just like a cat. And if a male breaks women's heart and treats uh, bigotedly, then the woman should not be felt disappointed, frustrated. Rather, that woman should be very strong, and she should behave in a very bold manner. And the poet wants women to be downrightly or completely or utterly maverick and exultant. Okay, and according to the narrator, a woman must not be confined to emotional happiness and external support. In addition, a woman should always focus on how to become emotionally intelligent and challenge patriarchal norms. The poet has left no stone unturned to advise women to become sanguine and propitious. Eunice de Souza even illuminates by saying that staying alone is worse for a woman than being in a relationship with men where man maltreats women, and women have no choice but to be under the patriarchal rule or under the man's rule without any kind of freedom. And the poet also says that men are very cold blooded, scrappy, and fickle. Therefore, it is always better for women to learn the art of moving on after altercation with men. Ironically, men often need women when they feel the urge of sexual desires, and at that time only they care for that specific need. And the poet has used the metaphor of a cat for man too, as cat always return to its little trays or little um, uh, cage when it feels outrightly ravenous or hungry. And it can be seen in the following lines of the poem, Advice to Women. This line you can mention in your particular exam. The line is, it should be, if you can, then try to write this in quotation. And if you write in quotation, that means that quotation should be means correct. If you are writing, if your spelling is mistake, and then this quotation, whatever you have written, that will have no value. Okay, let's read it. Otherness is not always neglect. Cats return to their little trays when they need to. Okay, these three little lines you can put in your answers if you want to um, make it more means magnificent. Furthermore, in the line 7 to 12 of the poem, the speaker counsels women not to cuss out of the window or not to look out of the window to her previous lover, because that lover is gone and he will never come back. And she uses, the poet uses enemies to denote her ex-lover or her ex-spouse or her ex, someone she adored. The poet wants to make women aware that it is time to accept reality, because her old lover has already moved on with a new partner. And uh, that that uh, that her ex husband or ex lover is now building a new relationship with the new partner. So the poet is saying that she should not now uh, disturb that particular person. And now it will be unmitigatedly foolish if one tries to involve in their private affairs. So now the poet is saying that it will be utterly foolish now to say, or to go back to that person and to beg him to return to his old love. Moreover, if one interrupts in their life, then it will get nothing but the stare of great green eyes. For instance, that great green eyes, these all things are um, magnificently uh, mentioned, portrayed in the lines of the poem. And that line is, don't cuss out of the window at their enemies. That stare of perpetual surprise in those great green eyes will teach you to die alone. Okay, that's it. That's all for today's video, and I hope you have learned a little bit about the poem. And this video is not only the option you have left. You just make your own notes, make your own observation, perspective, have your own opinions, have your own appreciation. And thank you so much.